All right. Okay. Let's go.
It's over there. I think it's over there.
Yeah.
Ready and go! There we go. Good lad. All right.
With next day delivery on thousands of electricals, you can be sure of a better tomorrow.
Hey everyone, just wanted to give you guys another update, second follow-up video on this sun simulator or solar simulator, and we have a lot of things to cover today. One of the things we're going to cover is a lot of the information that so-called debunkers have tried to debunk on these solar simulators, and we're going to find out that they're not actually debunking their claims. We're going to point out a lot of things that are wrong with that. We're also going to cover some other fakery with 24-hour sun videos and another testimony from somebody that was stationed at McMurdo Station during the summer, and they stated that the sun sets every day. We can see here the sun used to be yellow, and then it's white now, which is a huge difference. But another thing you'll notice is these suns, the lens glare is showing these funnel-shaped projections. You can see the green funnel here, which is not really a natural shape that you would see with a lens flare. And you actually see that that lens flare matches up to what the actual patents show. That shows the funnel piece that's attached to the sun simulator. So you'll see that a lot with these lens flares. And it's just a very odd, bizarre lens flare that you'll see that just doesn't really make sense. We'll also point out some other irregularities like this hexagon-shaped honeycomb lens flare, and we'll come across some that actually have a hole in the middle. And these lens flare, again, some of the debunkers will say that this lens flare is caused from the aperture, the hexagon aperture that's shown in some of these cameras, and that's what causes that hexagon shape to be shown. And we also are going to go over some of the black dot. Some of the debunkers will say that's because of too much light. It's too bright that it causes the negative reference points to cause that black dot, and when you're filming, because it's too bright. But we're going to find out that this reflection is it's identical on the lake, and it doesn't change shape or size. There's actually two reflections. There's an intermediate one, and there's a full reflection that shows it the same exact shape and size. And we're going to see through different negative and black and white color sketches and different filters from camera experts, photography experts, that this is actually a real object. And then there's also someone that was a photo forensic expert that actually did a photo forensic analysis on this black dot. And they found that when they did this analysis, they were finding all of the wiring and the inner workings and all the different mechanisms that are actually specifically called out in the patent. When they did and this is from like a webcam security camera that they've pulled up this black dot, and they did the photo forensics on it, an expert did, and they zoomed in and they found all of these parts, the specific mechanisms on the solar simulator that are called out in the patents on the blueprints. And once they kind of zoomed in and they looked at all the different parts and components, they found that all these parts and components were also showing on the forensic photo that they did the forensic analysis on of this black dot that was showing up on these webcam videos of the sun. So it's shown as it's a 3D object, it's a real object, and it has all these different parts and components that are called out. So we're going to cover that. We're going to go a little more detail on the photo forensics of it. We're going to cover what they're saying about this black dot, these debunkers are saying, and how it's objectively not the case, and how they're kind of leaving half of their claim out. This is a common one that comes up, is they say that it's a hexagon aperture issue with the lens of the camera. And the one thing you'll notice is they never really show it on an actual sun. They'll show it on like a lamp post or a light post, zooming in and zooming out, but they never show it with an actual sun. They also never show it zoomed in onto the hexagon lens flare. And the reason for that is because it shows the actual, the different honeycomb effect, the different reflectors that are shown, and the hole in the middle. And they'll point out all these apertures here that show that hexagon shape and say that's what's causing it. But they never actually address they only address half of the claim. They don't address the other issues when you actually zoom in on a photo of the lens flare and you see all the different reflector lights and you see a hole in the middle, which there's no way the aperture of the camera could cause that. And the debunkers never address that part because they can't, because that's not part of the camera, which it proves that this is actually a real object and it's not a artifact from the lens. And even when you zoom in with like an infrared camera, you can pick up all the different little reflectors on it, which is why I keep saying they need to bring, a solar filter, and they need to bring a telescope even would be best, because you can zoom in and you can see all these different little artifacts. Then another thing what people will say is, the bunkers will say, is that, well, the sun flickering is because of, it could be because of the ISO automatic settings on a camera. We're going to show that's simply not the case, because this was taken in Benin City in Nigeria, and all these hundreds of people, thousands of people are observing it. They're observing the sun flashing like a flashlight and flickering, and they're all taking their cameras out and they're recording it. So they're all viewing this sun. Hundreds of people are witnessing the sun flickering and flashing in real time. So that's just more proof that it couldn't be an ISO automatic setting from a camera, because this guy right here, he's observing it in real time. And hundreds of witnesses have seen this. This happened in Nigeria. So again, the flickering cannot be from an actual camera artifact, but it's a real phenomenon that's happening with these sun simulators. We're also going to get into more information on some more faked 24-hour sun videos that I came across, some more information. This is just one. There's a couple others I came across where you can see the lens petal effect, the hexagon petal effect, those move, but the sun doesn't. There's all kinds of artifacts that, as you've seen previously, I pointed out, that show that these faked 24-hour sun videos, they're actually faking, they were filming a sun simulator. So there's just more artifacts I came across that show that all these 24-hour suns were filmed with a solar filter, with a solar simulator. So this is another guy here that he was stationed in McMurdo Station, which I believe is like 75 degrees south latitude. So if there was a 24-hour sun, you would see it. And he claims that the sun sets every day during the summer. It's hard to see sometimes because there's so much glare from the white snow and ice, but he says that the sun sets every day in Antarctica at McMurdo Station. So there is no 24-hour sun, is what he's claiming. So we got a lot to cover today. We're gonna get into all that, but let's go ahead and first get into these some of these debunks and the black dot and how that actually works and how it proves that it's actually a sun simulator, and then we'll get into more details on the rest of the fakery.
Then you go over to here, EOS HD, and they're talking about the Sony A7S major sunspot defect. And this, for me, is quite interesting, because if we go down here and we look, this basically says exactly the same thing as what the other young man was saying, and we've even got diagrams. So hence, this is why we get the black spot on the sun. So this really raises more questions than answers. This black spot is in the centre of our sun, and this is exactly what they're saying to us. Why is it not as big as the sun? What I'm trying to say is, why is it always in the centre of the sun? It makes sense that the sun is bright all over, and I think you can agree with that. So why is the black dot not as big as the sun? Is it only bright in one place? Why does the pixels not pixelate all over the place and we get, if you understand what I'm trying to say, it makes no sense to me. Why is the black dot there? Why is it not there? Why are there not lots of black dots? Because the sun is bright all over. This is what you've got to ask yourself. If we look into this a little bit further, this young man here, post from Surge, I've noticed is almost all European shooters are reporting the sunspot bug. Sure enough, I switched to NTSC 24, which is actually 30. The problem is gone. It looks like it's only a PAL bug. NTSC is 30 and PAL is 25, and we're talking about a frequency here. If you want to know about frequencies and how everything seems to work with NTSC and all the different formats, you can see it just here. If you're taking a photo, you're just taking one picture. If you're taking a video, you're taking multiple pictures and they get stringed together. Makes a lot of sense. So if this disappears by changing frequencies, that's actually got to tell us something. If you're inside taking a video and you're using tube lights or fluorescent lights or maybe LED lights, you will get a flickering if you haven't set the camera up properly, either to the hertzage, 60 hertz, 50 hertz, or you haven't got anti-flicker on, which is the most common in the menu systems nowadays, and you get a flickering on the screen. So when you go outside and start taking videos of the sky and it starts to flicker, that leads me to believe, and there are many videos on YouTube and other places, that there is another object in play here, and that has to be electronic, because our sky resonates with a frequency, our sun resonates with a frequency, everything resonates with a frequency, but we shouldn't be able to pick it up on our camera. That means there is a sun simulator. How can I prove that? Let's have a look. If you remember the first picture that I showed you, 15th of January 2011 from Chatty Dad, if we go a little bit further into the video, we actually get to see this, and we get to see a reflection of the object on the water. And to me, I think this is totally impossible. But people will still argue at this point. To have something that reflects on the water leads me to believe that it's there in the first place, and if it's there in the first place, it must be man-made. So if we have a look at this clip from Golovin West 288 degrees, Monday 4th of September 2017 is the date on the video. Everything looks quite normal until you start looking at our sun and sun simulator. Very cartoony, and that is my view on it. And you can see that our sun and sun simulator come straight over, and we got a black spot here, and we got a black spot here on the water, and we have a reflection on the water just here, and you can see it just there. It's clear as day. To me, this is man-made, and this is now what I'm going to prove to you by using filters and other means and showing you what I'm saying. And you can see our sun simulator going down and disappearing on the horizon, just like a great big explosion of lights, like it normally does every morning, every night. Let's look at this clip through some filters, but before I get started, what I want to do is talk about filters. Basically, what a filter does is change the parameters of the picture. It doesn't actually add anything, and it doesn't actually take anything away. It enhances the picture. So if we're looking at a clip with a black and white filter on, I expect to see black and white and nothing more. And that's exactly what it does. The information's encoded in the picture itself, so all the filter does is extract that information and put on the screen what's there. This is the most important thing. It can't put something that's not there. This is what I'm trying to emphasise. It is just an impossibility. So all the things that you're just about to see must already be stored in the information in the picture. So black and white, we would expect to see black and white, as you can see, and we can see our sun simulator and sun coming through the sky, and you can see the reflections on the water, and that really shouldn't happen. We are now looking at a negative filter, so black is white, white is black, and that is exactly what we're getting as it goes through, you can see. And the filter we're using now is equalize. It brings the colour, contrast and brightness to the same level. So when we're looking at this says that there must be something there. It, like I said, it can't actually add, it can't take away, unless that's the filter we're using, and we're just using standard colour filters, as you can see. There's a box around the outside, and we've got a box around the outside just here. You know, it translates into the water. This sun and sun simulator, and this is our sun simulator, you can see the blue around the outside, and it translates onto the water. You shouldn't be seeing that because it's not actually there, but it is. We can't just see that. What it does, and you can see there's a box around this piece here, which there's a box around here, there's a box around here. So, you know, the filter is only translating what it is seeing, and if you look around the outside of this, all the blues suddenly disappeared. We look at the next picture and it comes back like a mosaic, and yeah, that tells me this is a false light as it goes through the sky. The filter we're going to use now is black and white 5, and black and white 5 is just like black and white but a different version. It's not adding anything to the picture. The information must be embedded in the picture for it to be on the screen. And if you notice straight away, this black dot is no longer a black dot, it's grey in the middle with a black ring around the outside. And it doesn't matter which clip I do this to, it actually translates in exactly the same way. And you can see it translating onto the water there. We've got our reflection just there. And you can see this, this, and this. And as the clip goes on, you actually get to see the black line around the outside. It translates all the way through. So for me, this tells me this is a sun simulator in no uncertain terms. We're going to use colour, sketch and negative, and it's important that the negative comes first, the colour sketch comes second. What colour sketch does is turn it into a cartoony picture, as you can see here. But if you look at the sun, it just like equalise, everything changes. So it means there must be something there, or it is a false light. And we still got our box around the outside, and all of a sudden this just disappears, and we got this box around here, and we got this box around here. It just seems to mirror itself, and then we got our mosaic that comes back round, and we got our black lines that run round our LED sun simulator. Now we're going to use colour sketch and negative, and we're going to use them in that order because it now brings something totally different to the ball game. In the middle of this sun simulator, we have something that we can see here. Oh yeah, it just sticks out like a sore thumb, and if you pay attention you can actually see it spinning. Somebody's at the door. For me, this actually proves that there is a object there. We're looking at this one, I believe this is the lensing system moving in and out, and it's like just focusing. Hey, I'm looking at this. A camera abnormality. Would it possibly be cut in half? I don't believe it would be. If it is the sun simulator, I would expect to see exactly what we're looking at here. Let's be logical. And it's a box around the outside, and we're not using any filters on this at all, but go figure. And you've got this object here. It looks like it's been cut in half. Would a camera abnormality do that? I don't think it would. And yet again,
take you through a step-by-step process on this one. We've all seen, most of us have seen this little black dot in the sun before. Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. As you can see, it's got two. It's got two black dots. So what I did was I took a snapshot this, and I did some photo analysis with it. All right, well, here's the snapshot that I enlarged using about. But let's take a look at what these things look like when they're ran through the photo forensics. Okay, as you can see, there's the 2 dots, and I'm doing my photo forensics here. Now, what I want you to see, actually, when I saw it, it kind of blew my mind a little bit, because I most definitely saw something. Okay, now,
So it gets to a part where you can't really see what she's trying to show you, but she eventually gets around to this part where she reveals through the photo forensics program what appears to be mechanics within that black dot. That's the black dot that she zoomed in on.
to explain this one to me? Okay, when all it did was started out from, you will know I captured this image. Now, I'm going to enlarge it, and you're going to see what I see. We're going to take a look at this, okay? I'm going to enlarge it so much, it's not going to fit the entire screen, so we'll move it around. Okay, now, look at all this.
And we're going to go over to here, and we're going to look at this patent and bring it up to size. And if you'll notice, you'll see in here, here's these stanchions or supporting bars, which possibly could be what we're seeing actually in the video that was done by Patty Daly and her forensics investigation. See the pipes going across here? Let's take a look at that again and see how that matches up.
Okay, this is the black dot in front of the sun. What do you think that is? I think that's a device. Look at this. You can see the 3D, right? I can't zoom it in anymore. But let's take a look at this. Again, I will post my last video in the description box below, because you're going to need to watch that first. But here you can clearly see, these are like pipes and, whatever. But this is definitely a square object in front of the sun. Now, I don't know what all this stuff is, but I'm looking at all that. Okay, that's just the edge of the picture. That's nothing down here. Okay, so let's take a look over here. I mean, it looks like plumbing pipes. Alright, look at this. I mean, you can actually see shadows. You can see the 3D effect on this. And here's the center of it. This is the center of that black object, that black dot we all see every once in a while in front of the sun.
What we're seeing here is the sun simulator malfunctioning, or the fake sun's malfunctioning. It's flickering like a torch would, because that's essentially what it is. It's a big torch in the sky that's man-made. It sits in between the Earth and the sun. It's small, it's not that big, but it's big enough. They obfuscate it with clouds, so they distort it so you can't see it properly. It's a big white light like a torch. It's not yellow. And you can clearly see the people around here. Some of them are enjoying it, some people are amazed, some people are scared. And this is at a festival in Benin, Nigeria. Forgive me if I said that wrong. So there you have it, people. The fake sun malfunctioning in the sky and flickering. Please let me know your thoughts, like and subscribe, and I will make more for you.
So I'm sure we all seen this reflection on our phones or cameras when we face it at the sun. All right. So this video was 5 years ago. My buddy, did when he launched a weather balloon up in the stratosphere. This weekend I went to go visit him because he was going to do it again. He said so. He told me to come through. So I came through, and look what we got when we got back the camera. Look at the sun. Remember the sun, right? That last clip, how it looked? Look at it now. Check this bad boy out. What are those? all around that sun, right? I'm going to show you guys the reflection because you guys are probably going to be like, oh, it's a reflection from the lens. Yeah, shut up. But check this out. Hear me out. All right, I think it's coming up. Where did I, like, mark it where I can see it? Damn. Oh, and it's in slow motion because the weather balloon was going crazy spinning. It was mad windy. So right here, this is the reflection. All right, that's the reflection. Right here, it looks like it's attached, literally attached to the sun. Like, talk about blocking the sun. That shit looks legit like it's blocking the sun. Am I right or wrong? Like, they upgraded their fucking sun simulator. Because I remember seeing that shit on my other reflection. But look at this pattern, right? Looks like that tube thing. Oh shit, the next clip, y'all gonna trip out. So check this out. I'm pretty sure once you guys see this, you guys will be convinced that it's a sun simulator. So, look at that little thing I circled, right? Kind of looks like a satellite. Now check this. Oh my god. Look at that. Look at that pattern from NASA, right? And look at that, what I circled. What the fuck? That's the same exact thing. That is the sun simulator. They either upgraded it on April 8th and literally, you know, it's hugging the shit out of that sun. Like, is it good for it? Probably not. How do they do it? I don't know, but I know they did it on April 8th. I think me and my friend really got a video of this sun simulator. I mean, even the sun looks different. It's not even like what it was 5 years ago. That is nuts. What do you guys think? Do you think we caught the real sun simulator and you think it's attached to the sun? Because that looks...
So anyway, this is the sun. This is the sun's rays projecting into this like cathode ray tube. Well, it has this receiver here and this cathode ray tube that projects, enhances the sun's rays and projects them on, like, people think it's a spinning glass center. Some people say it's round, some people say it's square. I think that's when sometimes with certain cameras, when you point the camera at this, what we think is the sun, you're getting this outside lens array, but sometimes you get that black center, and sometimes it looks like it's spinning. I think that's what that is right there. It's basically the mirror that reflects the cathode rays tubes and then spins them in a high-speed rate, so it's sending pulsated rays across this lens array. It's sending pulsated rays across this lens array, and then it projects down to the Earth and looks like a sun. Now, what I'm about to show you is a sunset video taken at about 500 feet with my drone. I think I get a reflection of this, the cathode ray. Okay? Here we go. It blasts rays through a funneled tube to enhance the power. It's called a cathode ray tube or trigger. And that is exactly what the sun simulator is, just at a larger scale. Okay, so I think by now you guys have probably seen the green funneled lens flare. Totally bizarre.
And then we have one last one here. Again, if you're the one that whoever done this, I forgive me for not remembering who had sent these photos, but I did save them. Thank you very much. Again, this is the same spinning Fresnel lens on an infrared telescope. This mirror would be basically cool, spinning. How was it mounted there? I have probably a double axis gyroscope looking thing, which I have a picture of. And again, it was, which I believe was probably held on by this device. We see an axis here, and this thing probably rotates. And they hit this thing with light, possibly from a group of mirrors or lasers. Again, to see the cone-shaped light, I believe we're looking at, as we're looking down the lens array. Actually, hold on a second. Let me show you the patent idea. This is, I believe, the reflecting back to the light. That's the light that's coming. Go back and look at this, but this light source is coming through here. This is the object that's spinning, then bouncing this light back down to here. And this is spinning through the still, hoping that we don't see it. It does send a narrow cone of light that we see. This is the black dot. The black dot we see, like on this video. This was from the Zion Warrior. Watch him zoom in on this again. we can see the cool black dot as he zooms in on the dot, which we now know is a cubical mirror. At some angles, a cube would actually look hexagonal too.
Saturday, December 9th, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 2017. Solar simulators. Here's one here at Google Patents. It goes back to 1960. The idea has been around for a long time, quite possibly even farther back than 1960. There's a diagram of a solar simulator patented back in April of 1966. I shared two images yesterday with you guys of photos of Crazy Horse Monument in South Dakota. In both photos, there was two independent photos. A hexagon appeared in the sky in the photos. And it was very obvious that it was definitely a hexagon. No doubt about it. Yes, I did make the connection with the solar simulator. I didn't say anything right off the bat because of what's going on at YouTube. But as it turned out, they ended up demonetizing my video anyway. So here it is. Yeah, I'm totally on board. It's pretty obvious this is what we're looking at. How it ended up in the sky above Crazy Horse Monument, I have no idea. But yes, I totally agree, guys. That's exactly, to a T, what this thing looks like. Perfect match. So what I've done is taken a lot of the photos that I showed you yesterday and put them up next to a what appears to be a solar simulator. And there you go. Perfect match. Looks like a honeycomb in the sky. There you have it. So yes, I'm totally on board, guys. There it is. There it is in black and white. That's negative. There's your machine. So yeah, I totally agree with you. It's more than likely a solar simulator. Right there it is. There's the picture the guy took. His name's Jonathan. He didn't actually see it. He saw it in the photos after the fact. But the solar simulator theory and idea has been around probably before you and I arrived on planet Earth. There's a diagram right here of the idea. Thanks for watching, guys. And yes, I'm totally in agreement. That's what we're looking at here. Thanks for watching, and as always, be safe out there.
Again, it's January 8th, 2018, 12:42 p.m. Sun simulator breaking down big time. Sorry about the last video. I don't know why it just suddenly cut off. Look at that. Definitely something happening. And look at that weirdness of below the sun now. Blue beam going through, flashing. Looks like, see how the beam is not totally straight? Oh, we got 4 beams. Flashing very strangely. It's getting... Definitely look at the sun simulator now. Definitely misshaped. Shrinking. And flashing. Maybe something below. Maybe just a cloud. Look at the weirdness.
So, from the United Kingdom, behold, the sun simulator. Notice where the sun is reflecting on the windshields and the car and bouncing back the light on this fence. That's why we get the same exact images, because these are coming from cars and the building behind it. Just keep watching. That cube is the spinning cube I've been talking about. Coming off the windows. Thank you so much. Look at that. Do you see how the light's coming from the windows and the buildings? Look at from every car. It's perfect angle. Wow. You need to take this from Mike Around the News. You got them. I told you there's a lens in front of the sun simulator at 256 miles in the air. This is epic, epic evidence. Look at where it's even swirling in front of his lens. All those squares are slowly rotating. If you see this again, not only catches, this is awesome. Every single window is bouncing at perfect height on the air. The angle's perfect where it's coming at the sun here. Wow. You see how that works? I don't even know who this YouTuber is, but I'm going to say thank you. Thank you. It's more than just one garage. The entire fence bouncing off all the cars. Wow. Come on, man.
Now that we know, I've also heard, people say, oh, that's just the reflection from the windows and that's just what windows do. But thing is that these reflections are showing all kinds of different shapes that you wouldn't even see on windows, and you can see them all over the world in different locations, and even times when there's not even windows or reflections, places they could reflect off of, you'll still see the same shapes. Like this was a time-lapse video taken in Scotland, and you can see that same X shape going across a cliff from a time-lapse video in Scotland. And so there's not even a window to reflect off, and you're still seeing that same shape. And you'll see the same lens flare on camera phones and videos. You'll see that same exact shape. So it's not just from window reflections. And I bring this up because you'll see these exact same different shapes in the 5-day time-lapse video of the 24-hour sun. So it just goes to show it's more proof that it's a sun simulator. But you see these reflections in places where you don't even have windows for the sun to reflect off of, these same X-shaped patterns. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start getting into some more fakery with these 24-hour sun videos. So one of the first things you're going to notice, I'm going to start off with this Antarctica 24-hour sunlight VR video. Now, the sun, like from 5 years ago, it didn't really have that red lens array, the rose petal lens array that you'll notice on a lot of these videos. But if you watch this here, you see as it's approaching out of these clouds here, you see that red, huge red lens array there, and that's caused from the solar simulator, the spinning cubical mirror, the frontal lens that's spinning. And it actually gets worse as it goes through the video here. You see this big red lens array here. See, that's not really natural. I'm going to go back a minute here. See it again here. Look at that big red lens flare. And you'll kind of notice that throughout the video, and you can see here it's the same effect here. And they also you can observe this in multiple videos, and they call that another thing is they call it a sun brick, which is like an LED system, but it's that, and then the Fresnel lens that's spinning on the inside. So that's the first thing I noticed with this video is it has that that really noticeable lens array that you'll see on the back side of the sun here. And again, that's not something you used to see on the sun years ago. It's something that's fairly new that you see with these sun simulators. But there's also more issues with this video we'll go over here in a minute. And another thing you'll notice is when the sun goes behind an obstruction or a pole, it'll glitch out, it'll disappear momentarily, and you'll notice you get the same effect when you do the pen effect with the sun simulator. You'll also get that same lens array petal effect that goes around the solar simulator. But you can see it, you have the same obstruction issue when the sun crosses that obstruction. Now, the normal real sun, like this is up in the Arctic, the sun doesn't disappear behind the poles. It just continues on its path, and it doesn't flicker out and blink and flash. Whereas with the solar simulator, it'll flicker out and it'll flash and it'll blink. It'll glitch out, which isn't natural. The other thing you also notice is the sun it flickers and flashes a lot, like it does when the sun simulator is malfunctioning. You'll see how it's flickering and flashing throughout the time it's moving. It's flickering and flashing. That's the same malfunction effect you'll see. So that's just another thing that shows it's a solar simulator. So let's look at some other videos here. Another video that was debunked a while back was this other 24-hour sun video. And, one of the things you'll notice during the video is at one point there's a glitch that's at both the beginning and the end of the video where the sun flashes and it blinks at the same time. Now, this is the same phenomenon that was observed in Benin City, Nigeria, where there was hundreds of people observing the sun flashing and flickering like a flashlight at the same time. So it's the same exact artifact you see with this video. The sun is flickering, and you can't say that it's a ISO automatic setting from the camera because it's happening in real time with hundreds of people witnessing it. So it's just another artifact that shows you that they're filming a sun simulator. This was another video allegedly filming the 24-hour sun. It was done a while back at McMurdo Station. This one has a lot of the same issues. Now I'm going to kind of put the crop clouds that were filmed at the beginning and the end of the video, I'm going to kind of put that aside for a second. But one of the main things you'll notice is the sun is disappearing behind the lightning poles. And again, this is another artifact that you'll notice with the sun simulator. Now, one of the common arguments you'll get is they'll say that that's because the lens flare is much larger than the angular size of the sun. So when it goes behind there, it's actually capturing the angular size of the sun. But you can see here, I mean, it's the angular size of the sun is never that small. Like there's no way it would ever actually be that small in the sky. But not only that, but if you actually observe the real sun behind obstructions and poles and different objects, you'll see that the sun, the natural sun, this was up in the Arctic, it continues on its path without completely disappearing behind the light poles. And it's obviously doesn't have that same glitch artifact that you would see with a sun simulator. So we can obviously, see all these different artifacts that add up that show that all these 24-hour sun videos are actually filming a solar simulator. So one of the other things that I noticed with the 3D VR 24-hour sun video is you'll notice the image of the sun when it's passing through high altitude and low altitude clouds. The high altitude clouds make it appear smaller, and then the low altitude clouds will distort it and make it look larger. Now, this in reality would never actually occur with a real physical sun. This could only occur with a localized artificial light source. Now you can see here, this is the natural physical sun. The clouds don't distort it. They don't make it smaller or bigger at all. Whereas over here, this is the artificial solar simulator. You can see how much the high altitude and lower altitude clouds, drastically affect its angular size and its how it looks. So it's nearly doubling its size, tripling its size, and then shrinking down to a small size. Whereas you can see that in reality doesn't affect a real physical sun. So that's a huge red flag right there that tells you it's an artificial light source. Another thing you notice is the blinking that flashes and blinks 4 or 5 times throughout the video. A normal sun is not going to flash and blink like that throughout, when you observe it. You can see here, this one is one that was malfunctioning, is a sun simulator that was malfunctioning, and it's flashing like a flashlight in the sky, like the on and off button on a flashlight. Well, that's exactly what this here does multiple times throughout the video. And that's obviously not natural. That's it's a technical issue with a artificial light source that's very close and very local. A regular, real physical sun is not going to flash and blink while you're observing it. Another thing too I noticed is when it goes across light poles and fixtures, you'll notice that it flashes out and it glitches out. And you can see again here, it's flashing and blinking here. And again, that's, there's several times throughout the video you'll see it flashing, glitching out, and that's just another artifact that you would expect to see with a artificial solar simulator. Now here you can see this pen, they call this the pen effect, where you can, hold it over the top of the light simulator and it'll distort it. Well, you see the same thing with this video here. It glitches out when it goes by a pole. And you can say, well, that's because the angular size, the lens flare caused it to cause that. Well, that's not the case, because with a real sun, these poles don't affect it and they don't make it glitch out and disappear. It just keeps going along its path without disappearing, actual real sun. So that's another artifact that just shows you that the sun is a artificial localized light source. Now this is the 5-day time lapse. You'll notice that you have the same issues with the sun's size changing between altitude, the high altitude and low altitude clouds. It drastically changes in size. And obviously you can see if you use the sheet of paper with a local artificial light source, that paper is like clouds or like chemtrail cloud cover, which these are all not even real clouds. You can tell they're not the same shape, they're artificial clouds, but I'll get into that later. But you can see it does the same effect with the high altitude and low altitude cloud covering. And then another thing you'll notice is with these sun arcs and these sun dogs, is the sun should never change angular size within a sun arc. And you'll see here, this actually, it not only changes size, it changes shape. It'll go from small to big and then small again. It'll actually change into like a diamond shape. You see the sun arc here, it'll be small, and it'll get big, and then it'll change into a diamond. And obviously in a real physical sun is not going to change its size within a sun arc, even with clouds going over it. So it's always going to stay that same size. So it just goes to show you it's another artificial light source. Another thing you'll see here is the what's called the lens array, which is a lens petal effect. This was taken in a time lapse in Australia, another sun simulator, but the spinning cubical mirror that's inside the sun simulator on the double gyroscope, the Fresnel lens, when it spins at the right angle, it'll create that lens petal effect, which you can see here when you slow it down. Here's the same lens petal effect that you see here. That's a cubical mirror that's spinning on a double gyroscope on a Fresnel lens that causes that redness, that lens petal lens array. Again, you'll never notice that with a real physical sun. So it's another visual artifact from a solar simulator. Now, if that was enough objective evidence before, I'm going to show you something that 100% objectively proves that this 5-day time lapse was, they were filming a solar simulator. I give you the video before that showed the reflections from off the windows of the solar simulator of all these squares and diamonds and crosses, all these shapes. If you actually went through this video, and you can I time-stamped it, and you can actually see all 4 of these shapes reflected in the sun throughout this 5-day time-lapse video, which just objectively proves that it's a localized artificial light source. It's a solar simulator. So you can see here at 34 seconds, you can see it's literally a cross. Okay, it's a cross shape, and then here you can see it's a square. All 4 sides are squared off, and then you can see it's a diamond at 22 seconds, and then you can see the asterisk X here. So you can see all 4 of these shapes. How is a real sun, going to turn into a cross? You have to, question, how is that even physically possible? It's not possible, because it's a solar simulator, which creates all of these, when reflected at just the right timing and the right angle, the cubical mirror lens that's spinning will create these reflections. And all 4 of these reflections were actually caught in that 5-day time-lapse video that are shown here on this video here, where they're catching the same exact reflections. So if you weren't sure before, with all the other, mountains of evidence that it's a solar simulator, this here proves without a shadow of doubt that it's a artificial light source that they're filming. Now, they may or may not even be aware that it's an artificial light source. They may just have filmed it and, they weren't really aware that it was a solar simulator. Obviously, they've probably been using these for years in Antarctica, as we can see on webcam footage from back in 2011 and 2012, before Flat Earth was even a thing. So they've been obviously using these for a while. Another big thing you'll notice is at the beginning of the video, it's like daylight, and then the end of the video, you can see it's civil twilight here. And obviously that's showing that the sun is setting, and look how much darker it is at the end of the day to the beginning of the day. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at what civil twilight actually looks like, and let's compare that to what this 5-day time-lapse video looks like. Now that we can see the difference between nautical and civil twilight and astronomical twilight from these charts, obviously their civil twilight is 0 to 6 degrees below the horizon, and then you get to nautical twilight where the sun is 0 or 6 to 12 degrees below the horizon, and obviously you get an astronomical twilight at nighttime. Now, with that being said, the sun would have to physically be below the horizon for nautical and civil twilight to occur. Now, again, with this 5-day time lapse, like first couple days of the video, it's closer to daytime civil twilight out, and then the end of the video, it's closer to nautical twilight. I don't know if I'd say this is astronomical twilight, but it's pretty dark out. And we can even kind of compare some video or pictures of like what nautical twilight looks like. You kind of get this blue hue. The blue hours usually between civil twilight and nautical twilight, so it's usually like between 4 and 8 degrees. And you get that kind of blue hue and a little bit of yellows. That's because the sun is below the horizon, but you're still getting that residual daylight. Now you can see here, this looks almost identical to that. Looks like, nautical twilight or the blue hour. Now, again, the only way that can happen is that the sun itself is actually below the horizon. And you can see this kind of this light here. That's the physical sun is below the horizon. It's set already. And obviously they got this artificial light source propped up. They're using this solar simulator that, we've pretty much provided mountains of conclusive evidence that there's, if not multiple solar simulators in Antarctica that have been filmed there. But we've documented that it exists there. It's been filmed there. So this is showing you that the sun is setting, and you can see that we're getting the residual nautical twilight here. And again, that can only happen if the physical sun is below the horizon. And the evidence. This was another 24-hour sun video, the Frozen South 24-hour sun video. You can change the VLC color settings, and you'll see that the simulator lens reflection shows that hexagon shape from the sun simulator. It actually moves with the sun. That lens array pedal effect that you get from the spinning Fresnel lens that's on the gyroscope of the sun simulator, it's spinning with the sun and rotating. And these are it's literally showing the hexagon shape of the sun simulator. The other thing too is, I'm going to show in our video on this, but if you watch the sun, when it goes beyond the cloud covering, you can actually watch the heat spot from the sun continue beyond the clouds, and it'll keep going till it gets to the horizon and sets. And then this sun simulator, you actually watch the heat spot of it, actually goes almost like 90 degrees straight up, and it goes, which is kind of not even a natural path that it would take, but it goes up, and then that sun simulator continues on its path while the physical sun is already set below the horizon. So It's just another visual artifact that you can see with this lens pedal effect that shows that they're actually filming a sun simulator. Came across.
Well, this one here, I think, is just looks fake to me. I mean, first of all, that you don't have any rays changing here, but watch this. This is what I'm talking about, where let's imagine that the sun is about to set here. And it's crazy because here comes the clouds. And I watch the sun and just kind of follow my mouse as the clouds go here. So now the clouds are blocking. Now imagine that the sun is going off in this direction. Oops, right over here, where it's going off and setting. Like, it is possible that it does that it sets here. Now watch it get blocked. Okay, now it's blocked. Now imagine that it keeps going and sets. It's going, it's setting over there. It's setting, there it's gone. The sun set. And then they just have this little bright spot here. And then it comes back up and then pops out of the clouds. And people call this proof. Like, the sun, we just saw the sunset, in my opinion. The sunset.
Oh yeah, okay. This is okay. This one's stupid. The other one's the one the other one's the one they sent everywhere though.
The looped one.
Yeah.
Flat earthers proving that one was fake. And then this one,
it looks like the sun set. It looked like the sun went away and it was just daylight.
It does, and now it's just back up there in the exact same rays. But what we had a problem with is, how are the locations behind mountains? Like, I'm a video editor. I don't know how to do that unless I use layers. So the video has been layered, because how else would you, like, go again here? When it's got when it says west behind the mountain like that, how do you do that? You know how to make it videos, Austin. How would you put the word west behind this mountain?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think you'd have to use a layer. You'd put the word west down, and then you would put the layer of the mountains over it.
Without layers, I don't know how.
Yeah. So again, and then just other ones I've seen, you don't see these rays stay so consistent like that. I mean, again, I'm not able to say whether or not it's fake, but to me, it certainly doesn't.
Can you go theater mode?
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. But again, watch the sun. And imagine that it's going to go off and set, which is what we'd expect. And it goes this way, and then you just, and again, just some words on the screen that are behind mountains. But here, watch the light. There goes the light. There goes the light. There goes the light. There goes the light. You can see it over there, and it's going to go set. So to me, it's like, that's funny that this video is the one that they end up using for proof. I'm like, what? Why don't we have a video where there's no clouds? And then I looked up Union Glacier, and then you pop out, and it's like the sun's way up here again, with the same rays coming out. So if you go
to wash, I'm sorry, I would have been like, oh, better do it again another time when, it wasn't 8 hours of cloud cover going by there.
Which is why I don't want to do a crowdfund to go to Antarctica, because I was like, no, I don't want to have my entire audience pitch in for a $45,000 trip, which is way too fucking expensive anyway. And I don't want to do that. And then we go down there and see clouds for 3 days. Like, that's terrible. But I'm not the one who came up with the experiment. Duffy is. So I wanted Duffy to spend it. And then if it's 3 cloud days, oh, well, then he lost the money. It's his fault. He shouldn't have made the experiment. But
that's why we called it Why Would They Lie, right? Because it's like, okay, let's really have an honest, transparent test where we get Globers and Flyers together and we finish it once for all. Why lie? If the sun's really out for 24 hours, why doctor the footage, claim it's real? Why lie? Why constantly lie about this part of the discussion when it is a distinguishing difference between the two ideas? I did send you another video too, if you want to check it out later, but someone sent me that. It's like a 360 interactive footage, but there's like a lot of clouds and stuff like that.
On the 360
video, I'm going to show of the Antarctica worker that was based in McMurdo Station, which I believe I said 75 degrees south earlier, but McMurdo Station is actually 77 degrees south, which is pretty far south. It's actually very close to where latitude-wise where this Union Glacier camp would be at, where they're doing the final experiment. But even he states that during the summer there, while he's there, he said the sun basically sets every day. You just have a hard time seeing it set sometimes because of the glare from the ice and snow. But now I didn't do the editing on this original video, so if it gets a little repetitive, that wasn't my doing. But we'll go ahead and we'll show you exactly what he says about the sun in Antarctica during the summer.
So there you go. That was a day in the life. It's about, I think 7:30 right now, as you can see. Still sunny and bright. There really is no true darkness at this point in the year. The sun sets, but there's so much reflective surface, so much ice out here that it never gets dark. And the sun sets, 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 but there's so much reflective surface, so much ice out here that it never gets dark. The sun sets.
Now that we know that there's been multiple sun simulators that have been caught on webcam and camera in Antarctica, on different webcam stations at Newmeyer Station and Casey Station, we know that there's obviously much evidence of these sun simulators being in Antarctica. And we've obviously been able to rule out a lot of the quote unquote debunks of these sun simulators with photo forensics, literally showing 3D objects and the mechanism within the sun simulator and seeing the identical reflection of the same size and shape without it changing on water. So we know that these sun simulators are real. And we have plenty of evidence showing that, and documentation of photos and videos. And so, with that being said, I think there's a good chance that they could try to fake this final experiment. Now, I also think that there's a good chance that it may get canceled or rescheduled, or something might come up at the last second. I would say there's a 50% chance that this gets canceled for different reasons. And even in the event that it doesn't get canceled and they somehow make it down there, I think there's a very good chance, there's probably a 99% chance there's going to be heavy cloud covering for at least a couple of the days, if not all 3 days, and then we can't really observe anything. So but with that being said, I don't think that we can't rule them out trying to fake this. And obviously there's plenty of evidence that we've seen with a lot of these 24-hour sun videos that they've faked it before. And there's a lot of artifacts and visual characteristics that match up identical with these sun simulators. So with these 24-hour sun videos, so we know that they're obviously filming these sun simulators down there. So we can't put it past them to try to fake it. But at the same time, I think we should try to go down there and take this opportunity that we're given. And we should try to, if they're going to try to fake it, we should try to make them fake it. And I think that we should finally get an answer for this 24-hour sun and go down there and get the true answer to our true reality of the true Earth where we live.